Maria Garcia de Fleury. At the end of the 17th century, when many in the church had fallen into the error of Jansenism, a doctrine with great moral and ascetic rigor, combined with a theological pessimism, the rejection of frequent Holy Communion, the belief that we're not worthy of God and therefore we must earn His favor with our supposed personal perfection. In those times of confusion, Christ used Margaret Mary of Alacoque and Saint Claude La Colombiere to show the intimacy of his heart and his thirst for love for all men. Claude was born in 1641 near Lyon, France, to a wealthy family. At the age of 17, he entered the Society of Jesus in Avignon. He was sent to study in Paris, always excelling in his studies and works. As the Jesuits fought the Jansenist doctrines, highly influenced by the spirituality of St. Francis de Sales, they sent Claude to the town of Paray-le-Monier, to a very modest destination. The reason was that the Visitation Monastery was being built there, and there was a nun called Margarita Mary de Alacoque who was receiving the visit of Christ with his open heart. These visions were rejected by the community of nuns and by the priests who assisted the community. But one day, in 1675, the Jesuit Father Claude went to preach for the first time at the monastery. And while he preached, Sister Margaret Mary felt in her heart that Jesus was saying to her, "This is the priest that I have sent you." The sisters spoke with Father Claude and agreed to be his spiritual director. Father Claude believed so faithfully what Sister Margaret Mary said that he became the main disseminator of Margaret's message. This is how Father Colombiere took the reality of the Sacred Heart of Jesus from inside the monastery of Paray-le-Monier and gave it to the world, showing that we are worthy of being loved by God, even if we are sinners. 2 years later, he was sent to London as chaplain to the Duchess of York. The country was convulsed by the tensions between Anglicanism and Catholicism. There, although it was very discreet, the volume of people who visited was large, including faithful nuns and even priests who had abandoned the island due to the persecution and returned to continue their ministry thanks to Father Claude. In 1679, he was arrested on charges of papist conspiracy. The intervention of King Louis XIV of France saved his life, and he was only sentenced to exile. He spent the last stage of his life in Lyon, confessing and directing a multitude of young people in whom he managed to ingrain what he experienced in Paray-le-Monier, the Sacred Heart of Jesus. During all those years, he exchanged letters with Margaret Mary, whom he encouraged her to write down all the visions and revelations of our Lord. He died 3 years later at 41 years of age as consequence of the hardships he suffered in England. Both in the history of the church and within the heart of every believer, there is a struggle between good and evil, along with a tension between personal effort and free love of God, between our attempts to achieve holiness and where God's work make us holy. Let us remember, friends, that the important thing is to put ourselves before God and surrender to Him, aware that with God we always win.